Hi, my name is Swapnil Karkare, a chartered accountant and an economist, and here's your monthly economics and finance wrap for May 2025. May was a very good month for the markets. Volatility was down, Nasdaq was up 10%, US, German, Indonesian, and many developed markets recorded big gains. Two markets like UK, Pakistan, and South Africa were down in the month of May. Nifty was flat at 1.7% in May. Most sectors in India have gained. Capital goods got up by 12%. Real estate, metals, auto, IT, telecom, and infrastructure sectors recorded gains over 4%. However, FMCG and consumer durables were negative, but that too just 1 to 2%. So a breather for the Indian markets in May. Coming to 10-year bond yields, Japan, Korea, US and UK bond yields rose around 20 bips, which is 20 basis points. There are many concerns regarding debt, deficit, political and economic instability. Turkish bonds saw big declines, and also South Africa, India and Brazil yields were down. Now the energy prices, gas prices rose, but coal and crude oil prices also jumped, with ethanol, methanol and propane prices down. In this month, platinum prices rose by 10% on account of China's demand and tight supply of platinum. Gold, silver and copper prices were also up marginally. Lithium and steel prices came down drastically. In agricultural commodities, cocoa, lumber, tea, rice and wheat prices rose, while potatoes, coffee and rubber prices collapsed. That said, egg prices took a breather, down by 20%, which made news in US last month. That's your quick market wrap for May 2025. Now to the top stories. What will happen when Asia pulls $7.5 trillion out of America? We are about to find out, and it is going to be terrifying. For 30 years, Asia had one rule: save money, don't spend too much, export everything to US, earn dollars and invest those dollars in US bonds and stocks. Safe, simple, profitable, rinse, repeat for multiple decades. Now this strategy was adopted because a lot of reasons. For one reason, we have to go back 30 years in Asian crisis around the late 90s, when Asian currencies collapsed, stock market crashed, and India wasn't the part of it. After that crisis, they learned that they needed dollars so that their currencies are stable and the economies are stable. So they became biggest suppliers of America and also biggest investors. Their investments in US assets peaked in 2004 at $354 billion per year. Back then, for every dollar they earned from US exports, most of them were invested back in US. But by 2024, it dropped to only $68 billion. That means only 11% of trade surplus of US was invested. That means much of the export revenue that these countries are earning, they are keeping it with themselves. So basically what has happened is that cycle, which we talked about at the beginning, is breaking, and Trump is breaking it even faster. After Trump's tariff on Asian economies, the world economy saw huge sell-off pressure on dollar. So dollar depreciated and other currencies appreciated. Companies were not ready with this. In April and May, Taiwanese investors and insurance companies lost plenty of money due to these things because Taiwanese dollar rose in value. Something more happened after that. $1.1 trillion of carry trade got exploded. So what is carry trade? Carry trade is basically when investors borrow money in a country with low interest rates, say like Japan, and they invest in countries with higher interest rates, which is US, for example. So the investors are basically earning more money because Japanese yen is a weaker currency. But what happens after tariff is that Japan has to raise interest rates and the yen gets stronger. It rose 14% in 1 month. Investors quickly sold US investments because they have to pay back their Japanese loans. This created a domino effect and that hurt markets worldwide. In the last 2 months, banks and financial institutions of Japan, Taiwan, China, and Australia are either selling or lowering their investments in US assets. This is a signal. Asia is not trusting with US economy anymore. This shift could move $7.5 trillion, which is how much Asian countries have invested in USA. So, if the safe place is not US, then where will all that money go? Can it come to Europe? Can it come to Asia? Can it come to India? Well, anything is possible. A lot of it will definitely come to India because growing economy, high young population, so on and so forth. But there is one problem. India's equity markets has a very low supply of quality stocks. I have written about it in my article on Trendline this week. Do read that article for what needs to be done if we want to welcome such a huge amount of capital. Now to the next news. Fraud pay fraud, fraud pay fraud, fraud pay fraud. That's what RBI is seeing and saying with IndusInd Bank's case. It all began with a big mistake in how IndusInd Bank managed its foreign loans. So what happened is that the bank borrowed money from the US dollars and was supposed to hedge that currency risk, which is basically what happens if rupee falls. So they have to protect their value in the books of accounts. But instead of going to the market so that they can hedge it hedged within itself. Yes, so its treasury team and the risk management team kind of contracted in between and they hedged it, but they estimated those values based on some different estimates rather than using the market prices. So when the rupee actually fell down, those losses were not properly shown in any of their profit and loss account or balance sheets. So over time, what happens that this mismatch accounted to 1600 crore rupees of accounting gap. They found out this in September 2023 when RBI introduced a new rule which required banks to revise or re-examine their derivative transactions. Realizing that this could be a bigger problem, the IndusInd Bank stopped internal hedging and moved to external hedging. Currently, SEBI's order reveals that the internal emails among the top officials show that the bank has estimated an adverse financial impact of 1,572 crore rupees, which is 2.35% of its net worth. And this is as on December 2023. However, this information was not disclosed to the stock exchanges until March 10th, 2025. But when this was disclosed, the IndusInd Bank's share prices collapsed 27% in just one single day, from 900 rupees to 655 rupees. Now, it is also revealed that the CEO, Suman Katpalia, along with 4 senior executives of the bank, sold their shares before disclosing this information. This is an insider trading. Now, over the last few months, we also saw senior management resigning, including the CEO. There is RBI, SEBI, internal audit, external audit, forensic audit, all these things are going on. But things didn't stop here because there's more mess. Let's see. There is 1,960 crore rupees of misreporting in derivative transactions. Then it also wrongly recorded 674 crore rupees as interest income. Now it has reversed that. Then 172 crore rupees was wrongly reported as fee income under microfinance portfolio. And they also found 595 crore rupees lying somewhere in the other assets heading in the balance sheet. There were some manual entries whose accounting, whose trail they are finding out now. So add everything and the total is 3,400 crore rupees. The bank in this quarter, which is March 2025 quarter, reported 2,329 crores of net loss. It is the worst in IndusInd history. from June 23rd, IndusInd will be out of the Sensex companies and will be replaced by Bharat Electronics. So here's what we know so far. From cooked books to cooked careers, this is what IndusInd Bank's story is kind of unfolding before us. Who knows what else is unearthed there. Now, the next story. क्या आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक है is now old. What we have to ask is, क्या आप उतनी ही टूथपेस्ट use? Indians are using some toothpaste trick and that is costing crores to top Indian companies. Instead of buying less toothpaste or cheaper toothpaste, people are using less toothpaste per brush. What is it? Is it a really news? Yes. Colgate's revenue for March quarter fell by 2% and net profit by 7%. The CEO literally said that people are adjusting how much toothpaste they are applying on toothbrush per day. Why? Because 70% of urban Indians are literally under financial stress. A lot of them are basically not switching to cheaper brands as of now, but they are making everything last longer. So less soap per wash, smaller portions of shampoo, and less toothpaste per brush. Companies call this titration. This makes companies' life a bit harder because sales and margins and profits are under pressure. So why people are doing that and why there is this kind of stress? And the answer is simple. High inflation, stagnant wages, and rising debt. Here high inflation doesn't mean the CPI, it's the high inflation over the previous few years. They are experiencing rising prices and stagnant wages, which kind of squeezes their incomes. Plus, what has happened is that post-pandemic, the financial planning has gone for a toss for a lot of people. Yes, I know that a lot of people have started financial planning after COVID, but revenge traveling, upgraded lifestyles, and loans for almost everything is available right now, and that kind of messes up with the financial planning. And therefore, we are now saving on toothpastes. So what are companies doing right now? Better rural economy is supporting them. According to Nielsen, rural demand is up by 8% and urban demand was up by 2 to 3%. But they are also saving more costs. For example, HUL is bypassing distributors altogether now. So that also has different implications. But right now, that is like a cost-saving thing for the company. And the bigger thing is that the urban slowdown has reached almost 5th quarter in a row. And that is going to be a big problem because signs of recovery are not yet that strong. There is not a sustainable recovery in urban demand. And therefore, this will be a tough time for everyone. So next time you brush your teeth, remember this story and check how much paste are you using. And if it remains the same, then consider yourself lucky. Now, that's it for today's episode. If you like this, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow me on social media. Links to everyone are given in the description below. Thank you.